morning. My name is Trish Davis. I am the evening weekend coordinator for the Licensed Practical Nursing Program on the Dundalk campus. And I'm going to take a little bit of time this morning to talk to you about incivility. So many of you may not even know what incivility is. So incivility can be a mixture of a lot of different things. So it's probably easier to start with what civility actually is. So we like to consider civility acting in a courteous manner, um, portraying courteous behavior, being very inclusive, being cooperative, being polite, showing respect to your faculty and other classmates, speaking kindly to other people and of other people, always using good manners when you're in class, listening attentively, paying attention, and then always being sincere in your intentions and your conversations with your faculty and other students. So now that we know what civility is, we're going to talk a little bit about what incivility is. So by definition, incivility is considered an uncivil or a discourteous act. That behavior could be described as rude, maybe disrespectful, impolite, or some may say lacking good manners. The thing about incivility is that sometimes they may or may not have a negative intent behind them. Some people may not recognize that their behavior or that their words or their actions are considered uncivil, and they may be unintentional. So some examples of incivility that we can recognize in the classroom setting when you're learning. So coming in late for class and making excessive noise. So once the teacher's already teaching and everybody's settled in their class and they're in that, structured learning environment, if you come in late and you're making a lot of noise and you're taking your laptop out of your bag and getting your pencils and papers ready, that really is a distraction for other people who are already in that learning mindset. So that's something we want to be very cognizant of. Not being mindful of assigned seats. So I guess it's kind of an understood rule in some classroom settings that if you're going to be in this classroom for 15 or 16 weeks, that you have an assigned seat. So if that is the case in your classroom, please be mindful of that. Not being mindful of your space in the classroom. So when you're sitting at your desk and you're sitting next to another student, just be mindful of that space around you. If you have your laptop out and some books and some drinks and things like that, just try to make sure that you're only taking your space. We always want to make sure that we're dressing appropriately for class. So a majority of our classes do have a dress code. So we wouldn't want to wear anything that's inappropriate that could be offensive to anyone else. Calling out is an example of incivility. So we always want you to participate in your classrooms, but certainly we want you to be mindful of other students and the teacher and be respectful and just raise your hand before you participate. Not being prepared for class is also an example of an incivility, which some of you may not have realized. So if you have an assignment that's due that day and it's expected that you bring it to class, then have it with you. Have it prepared, have it in the front of your notebook so when the teacher asks for it, you can turn it in. Having side conversations with classmates when the teacher is teaching. So this is something that I definitely see a lot in a lot of the classroom settings. So we have to be very mindful of this. And it may seem very minor to you. Maybe you're just asking for clarification about something that the teacher said, or somebody asked you a question and you're whispering, but it definitely is a distraction for other students around you, especially those who are sitting right next to you. And it is disrespectful to the teacher when she is trying to teach. Another example would be distracting others around you by texting, watching videos, or surfing the web. So if you're in class and you're learning that day, definitely you want to stay focused on what the teacher is discussing. If you have videos up or you're texting and your phone's blinging and things like that, other people can be distracted and that takes away from their learning environment. Challenging assignments, exams, or grades. This is also an example of incivility. So there might be an opportunity where you decide you want to ask a question or you need some further clarification for something, and that's fine, but we always want to make sure that we do that in a respectful way, and we want to do it when the teacher allows us to be able to have that time. Not addressing others by their preferred title. So this is something that's very important, not only for teachers, but also other class members. We always want to be very cognizant and understanding of what people like to be called and try to adhere by that. Laughing at others for asking questions. This is something that we never want to do. We always want to encourage active participation in our class, and we have to be understanding of the fact that not everybody comes to each classroom, to each subject with the same understanding and experience as other people do. So we don't want to ever laugh at anyone if they're asking a question and they don't know something. Not valuing the opinion of others. We always want to make sure that even if it's opinion that we don't recognize or we don't feel that certain way of, ourselves, we definitely want to value that opinion that somebody else has and be respectful of them. And then, of course, making comments that are racially, culturally, or politically inappropriate. There's no place for this in the classroom and in life in general. So this is just something that we really have to be mindful of. So what are consequences of incivility? So we know that when students are incivility and they participate in those behaviors that we just spoke about, that it's going to disrupt the cohesiveness of that learning environment. It's going to be hard for people to pay attention and to actively learn and get what they need out of the class. It also creates a hostile, unpleasant, and negative environment. We want everyone that comes into CCBC to have a safe environment. We want them to feel like they are wanted and accepted, and that they have a safe environment to learn. Students that feel disrespected often report that they feel unsafe, and we don't want anyone in any of our campuses and any of our classes to feel that way. It also decreases the desire to learn. If you're uncomfortable in that setting in the classroom, you're not going to be able to pay attention. You're not going to want to continue to learn. And then it's going to cause people to become frustrated. So CCBC has a zero tolerance when it comes to incivility. So we have a couple things in place how CCBC will work to promote and maintain civility in the classroom. So we make it a priority to create a classroom environment where every student that comes in will feel safe and they feel that they can learn and that they can be accepted. We support the values of the college, so we provide opportunities and support for all college students. We facilitate professionalism and leadership skills in students. We always uphold professional ethics expectations at all times, and each of us will work to create a safe environment that's free of any prejudices, biases, or bullying. So speaking directly from the CCBC School of Health Professions policies, again, like I said, CCBC has a zero tolerance for the following behaviors that are going to be considered a direct violation of CCBC's values and policies. So failing to demonstrate respect and courtesy to all faculty, all instructors, staff, and fellow students and guests. Any threatening or intimidating or behavior other than the purpose of receiving an unearned grade. Inappropriate or unprofessional conduct, including but not limited to violating confidentiality rules and engaging in unauthorized or unsupervised procedures in the classroom. And students that fail to follow the code of classroom conduct and etiquette will receive a verbal or a written warning regarding their conduct, and they may be asked to leave the classroom upon committing that infraction. Students may also be referred to the School of Health Professions Honor Council hearing board and may be subject to sanctions. So what can you do? So we want you to come to class on time or early to help minimize those distractions in the classroom. We want you to come to the class every day and be prepared, ready to learn. Make sure that you're following that dress code and dress appropriately. If you want to participate, we encourage that, but we want you to raise your hand before speaking. Allow others in the classroom to speak. Listen to understand and not to respond. Be respectful of assigned seating and other preferences in the classroom, and always treat everyone with the same courtesy and respect that you would want for yourself. Save personal questions for after the class so that you're mindful of everyone's time. Address faculty by the appropriate title. Be careful to minimize those side conversations. Remain quiet when the teacher is talking. Allow others to ask questions or participate without making comments, rolling your eyes, or laughing. Actively participate and be ready to learn. And don't engage in those distracting activities while in the classroom, like watching movies or videos, making phone calls, or texting. And then be sure to always keep your phone on silent. Civility, it starts with you. If not you, then who? So I do believe it's the job of all of us to, model the behavior that we want to see for others. So this definitely starts with you. Thank you for listening.